Uh, I don't know if they actually understand that the Earth is an evolutionary structure. From what I've seen in this article here, they don't quite get it yet. One of the researchers, what's his name, Benjamin W. Johnson. He says here, an early Earth without emergent continents may have resembled a water world, providing an important environmental constraint on the origin and evolution of life on Earth, as well as its possible existence elsewhere. Boswell Wig of the University of Colorado, that's the other guy that published this paper. I'll print out the abstract right here so you guys can see it. Boswell Wig of the University of Colorado Boulder, and his former postdoctoral student Benjamin Johnson, now at Iowa State University, launched a project to break fresh ground in a debate over what ancient Earth might have looked like. Their work centered on a geological site called the Panorama District in northwestern Australia's outback, where a 3.2 billion year old slab of ocean floor has been turned on its side. Locked inside the ancient crust are chemical clues about the seawater that covered Earth at the time. Yeah. The entire Earth was covered in a deep water ocean. Everywhere you stand was the seafloor. Hate to break it to you. Everywhere. Some parts are older than others, but they're all ancient seafloor materials. That being said, I don't know if they fully get it. I don't know if they fully understand what's going on here. This discovery that was made in 2011, from my perspective, some others have made earlier realizations of it. Alexander Oprin discovered the Earth is an ancient star back in 1924. So almost 100 years ago he discovered it, but of course he got trapped with the Soviet mentality, and they sort of put, the Iron Curtain down, and a lot of information didn't come out from those periods on, Cold War era, but essentially, one day, this debate on what early Earth looked like that Boswell A. Wing and Benjamin W. Johnson are having is going to be fully recognized as what it truly is. And that we have the observations of very young Earths inside of our solar system even. Jupiter is around 700 million years old. Neptune, Uranus, 1.1 to 1.2 billion years old. The sun, I have the sun as extremely young. I have the sun, gosh, hate to say it, but it's about 10 million years old. I know people are going to be very upset with that, but 10 to 14 million years old, probably. It's a very young Earth. Very, very, very young Earth. And to look at these people, I mean, they're not stupid. They can do these measurements, and they can do all these jumping through the academic hoop type things. But really, I think they fail in understanding that it takes time. It takes time for something like the Earth to form the way it is. They're sort of looking at the Earth, and they're assuming, oh, well, it had to have been mostly the way it is today. For the most part. But they sort of ignore the fact that it's 4.5 billion years old. They don't comprehend the extreme time that is. They never ask the question, why should the Earth be 4.5 billion years old? Well, the reason why the Earth is 4.5 billion years old is because it took 4.5 billion years to form. Now, that being said, if Earth took 4.5 billion years to form, what would Earth look like when it was 1.5 billion years old? And I think that's what they stumbled upon. They were looking at rock samples that told them, hey, the Earth was covered in deep water oceans when it was 1.5 billion years old. And if you go a little bit further than that, you see that Earth resembled Neptune and Uranus at 1.1 to 1.2 billion years old. If you go further than that, you get Saturn and a Jupiter. Saturn is about 550 million years old. Jupiter is around 700 million years old. And if you go back, just like I said with the sun, all the way back, see, we don't have red dwarfs in our system. Red dwarf would be like the 200 million year old range. And the brown dwarfs are about 300 million years old. We don't have those in our solar system. We just sort of skip over them like a fruit salad. There's no continuum in our solar system, but we do have a few objects that show us what Earth looked like in its past, and we have some objects that are going to show us what Earth will look like in its future, its far, far future. But it's sort of still lost upon geologists and astronomers that Earth is a highly evolved structure, and that we have the observations now with exoplanets of objects that were much less evolved. And a good general rule of thumb for those who are new to this theory is that the larger the object you have, the more massive, the more energetic, the younger it probably is.